Okay, supposedly I'm streaming. Let's let you guys catch up. Yeah, let's just go to the cover. Whoa! My mic is really bad. I need to, like, do some kind of filtering. Alright, sorry. Someone, like, send me email and remind me to fix my mic after this, because I never remember after I'm done streaming. Okay. Oops. Hi, stream. We're back. Yeah, alright, that's better. Okay. Let me get my window situated. Why are only 2 people watching? Because Twitch's UI is bad. Alright, great. We got more people. Okay, so, wow. I guess I should update you guys on what's going on, just to give you some context. So, Tony is in Hawaii on vacation. Much needed family vacation. So, while he is gone, Stephanie is working on crafting. Albert is continuing to chunk away at World Generation, is producing some cool stuff. Yeah, this stream we're going to be working on some models. I've been sort of thinking around here and there, doing some modeling, doing some UI work, and doing some, you weren't supposed to see that, but, it's not a mutated dog, it's a wolf. And I'm working on modeling as well. So, this is what I was doing this morning. So here's our old wolf. Let me make sure you can see him. Yeah. So here's the old wolf. This guy was in the Kickstarter video briefly. And this is not a wolf cub. This is, oops, that's his head. This is, let me see if I can find a version that's not all chopped up so you can look at the topology and I'm sure copy it or something. Which, whatever. You guys can do that. This is the new wolf. So not like wolf cub, new wolf. The problem with this wolf are myriad. The biggest problem is that he's just too many voxels. So, I mean, he looks cool. I really like his stance. The saddle is badass. But this guy, I feel like, just looks better. Has more of that sprite type feel. So when you see wolves in the game, they're gonna look like this. Weird face. No, the face is perfect. I really like the face because, okay, here I'm gonna show you why. Because you might say, well, wolves' faces aren't shaped like that, and you'd be right. But you know, your face isn't like a cube, right? So I feel like, you know, here I'll put the dude in the middle. Like, I really feel like this wolf goes with this guy much better than this wolf. I almost feel like these two models came from entirely different games, and it was bugging me for a long time, and I couldn't figure out why, and it's because, you know, I did what I usually do, which is when I first modeled, I tried to model them too close to reality. You know, I really like, on voxel models at least, like these flat surfaces, like the flat, you can't see my cursor, the flat surface of his face, and the fact that his nose is a square, right? It just looks right to me. In the same way that, like, this guy's face is 100% flat, but that gives me a flat surface to, like, almost do, like, 2D pixel art on, and it doesn't get distorted by, like, if I started adding, like, give him a nose, right? I mean, maybe that looks good, but it's I don't like it. Maybe you like it, I don't like it. It looks less like a sprite, and I want these things to look like sprites animated in 3D. Yeah, so, okay, great. Someone's giving me a heart mo on the new wolf. So I convinced one person, that's all I had to do. Mission accomplished, no more wolf. And don't pay attention to the size. Like, wolves in the game will be this big. Like, they won't be this big because that's like a puppy or something. They're going to be this big. He'll just be scaled up, and it's going to look great. Don't worry about it. Yeah, so, okay, so our goal here, or what we've set out to do is, I'm going to try to show you lots of stuff. I'm going to try. I'm only on here for an hour, so we got to go fast. we're going to attack the Weaver. So, alright. Okay, so when last we met, actually it was a couple of streams ago, we worked on the Carpenter, and I made some small changes, especially on this stump. But the idea was that when you are making a workshop, a carpenter's workshop, you're gonna, before everything, you slap down a workshop, and then most of the game is in the crafting part, crafting elements. And we've expanded upon that more recently, where you'll be able to upgrade the workshop itself. So when you first craft a carpenter's workshop, you're going to end up with like this. You're going to end up towards sort of this part of the screen. Oh wow, I just duplicated something, but whatever. You're going to end up with something that looks like this. And it's going to be like a carpenter and his workbench, tier 0 workbench, which is super rough, and it's going to be like a little stockpile, which is an outbox where he puts stuff. So like if you then said, hey, craft me a bed, right? And then like he's going to craft the bed, he'll beat on it. And this is working now. Stephanie's been working on this for a little while, and she's got it working in-game. Mostly. There are lots of rough edges, but the core tech works. And then like he crafts the bed and he puts it in the outbox. And then like some other worker will come and take the outbox and put it somewhere else if you want them to. Yeah. Okay. So and then when you're so this is what you start with, and you'll be able to. This is stockpiles are not going to be voxels; they just like appear on the ground. But I had to put something in here so I can visualize it in Cubicle. And you will be able to move stuff around. So if you want the outbox over here, you can do that. If you want it like over here in like an entirely separate room within reason, there's some minimum distance. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to set the size of the outbox. So you'll have a lot of control, and then you'll be able to add pieces that upgrade your workshop and upgrade the pieces themselves. So this is like an example of, okay, so let's ignore the carpet because that's not real. Like this carpet was, I like it. We'll get to the carpets in a bit. But say like you had your tier 0 out workshop and it looked like this. So we'll upgrade the individual pieces and then make it like a tier 1 workshop and it'll look like this. And then so it's going to be pretty interesting. So our goal after that really long build up is to do what we've done for the carpenter, where we've got a start where we have 2 set pieces, right? And version or tier 0 and tier 1 of each set piece, and we would need to do that for the weaver, which is probably going to be the second crafter to make it into the game, and will usually be probably the second crafter that you actually make. Do I have a weaver? That's not a weaver. Whoa, this is not good. Hold on. Thought I had a weaver. Yeah, okay, so this is my weaver sheet. Right. Okay, so this is just kind of a dumping ground of stuff related to weaving. This is the male weaver, the female weaver. This is his loom. No, that's his loom. That's a spinning wheel. This is a flax plant. This is how he gets his raw materials. There's a cotton plant. There's a sheep. There's a shorn sheep. Okay, so this is like cotton. No, this is wool. This is cotton. This is flax. And he will take all those ingredients and use those to spin thread. And here are like different kinds of threads, right? Like how are we going to color threads? Well, there'll be dye, and some craftsperson will make dye. And we have a couple of ideas for that. And then from thread, oh, these are bolts of, not bolts, but bundles of wool. So you kind of go from full sheep to shorn sheep to a bundle of wool. And then you can take wool or cotton or whatever and turn it into a thread, and then you can take the thread and weave it into cloth. So that's kind of the upshot of the weaver. And now we got to make his workshop. Blah, blah, blah. Will the weaver make armor? No, the weaver will. The weaver is one of these intermediate crafters. Actually, that's not true. It's a lie. I was going to say that a weaver makes crafted goods used by other people. Like he'll make cloth, and then the carpenter will take wooden cloth and turn it into a bed. But that's not true, because the weaver will also make things like blankets and standards and stuff. He wouldn't make armor. He would make... actually, he might make cloth armor. Because we thought about for a while about having like an armorer, but it seemed like a waste of a craftsman in the same way that a bowyer would be a waste. Like, it makes sense to have a guy who concentrates on bows, and a felcher or fletcher, I can't remember how it's pronounced, who just makes arrows. But then you've got like, you know, you want to make a bow and arrow, and you have 3 craftsmen, the carpenter to get the wood, and bowyer to make the bow and then the dude to make the arrows. That's just too crazy. So instead we rolled it all into the carpenter. So maybe we would roll like, you know, certain kinds of cloth-based armor, like padded cloth armor or something, I don't know, onto the weaver. That was a super long-winded answer. Okay, but this guy needs a workshop, so let's go back to our carpenter. He has no workshop. Oops. We just have like ideas about what he can craft, and I'm just gonna like, what's the right way to do this? I'm gonna grab this thing just for sizing purposes, and I'm gonna grab this just as inspiration, and the carpet because I like the carpet. Now I'm gonna go back to my weaver file. That's not him. Man, I fail. That's not it. Okay, I give up. File open. Okay, we're going to take all this stuff and get it out of the way. I'm going to paste, and now this is going to be the beginnings of the weaver shop. And I like the rug because I think it just gives character. There's no gameplay reason right now for the rug, but it's just going to go there. Okay, and of course he would not have this bench, but I just want to have something so I'm not staring into empty space. And then let's say our crafter's a girl. We'll just have her in there, just so we know kind of what's what. And then these are okay, great. So I can get rid of this bench because I actually have stuff. So I'm trying to like sketch out sort of in game what like maybe like a what an early, not a super high level, but an early weaver workshop would look like if you the player actually was like, oh, okay, here, let's make a weaver and let's figure out what's up, right? You know, you might like put the loom back here, right? And the idea behind this loom and this spinning wheel is that they're upgrades. When you first have the weaver, they're going to have just a spindle, because actually that's all you need to spin, like wool to thread. You don't need like a giant spinning wheel like this for like a long time. People just use these little spindles. And I can show you, those of you guys who caught the flash stream on Tuesday, can the weaver make goggles? You guys don't want to wear that joke. Like if you wear it out, then we're gonna have to start banning people who say goggles, and then nobody's gonna have fun. No, the weaver cannot make goggles. Don't be ridiculous. What do we got? There. So I was working on this Tuesday. Oh wow, it popped up right in the middle of the screen. And this bad boy is the spindle, the icon for the spindle, which is crafted by the carpenter, and then you hand it to a worker, and that upgrades the worker to a weaver. So let's start off by modeling that. And I just happen to have something that looks a lot like a spindle. So, you know, don't reinvent the wheel, or the spindle in this case. So I'm just going to like model. So we totally had a place lined up. It's gonna be awesome. We were gonna like do some like renovations on it and make it like a really nice, cool place to. I'm talking about to work, to like hang out. So people would just like, you know, it was gonna have like a little kitchen, a little break area with a bar, not like that serves drinks, but like a bar where you could like talk to people, right? And then we found out that there was an interior wall that we wanted to remove that was kind of structural in nature, so we couldn't do any of the improvements. So we got out of the lease, which was a huge bummer for a couple of reasons. It was a big bummer because we really liked the idea of that place, but it was a bigger bummer because it put us back to square one on finding some housing. Not housing. What do you call it? Office space. And now, like, there are, like, 4 people camping in my living room, and we've run out of desks, so Albert's actually at the dining room table. And we've got, like, another guy coming in who'll be starting in 2 weeks. And then we have the last piece of the puzzle, who is a pretty cool guy we're interviewing. So like we need office space, and it's like we desperately need office space. It's getting kind of scary, and we have a lead on a place now. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. So like exciting times at Team Radiant. I really like this brown. Like I really like this brown because it's kind of like almost like a sandalwood brown. I'm gonna steal it. Let's see, did I get it? I got it. So grab that color. Actually, that's not quite the one I want. And I actually made a change there. That's a good one. Oh wait. I don't think I actually copied. Yeah, I have to remember that I'm working in a different program. Copy that color code. Close that window. Don't save. Okay, and now let's see if I did it right. I did it right. Okay. See, sometimes I do things right. Okay. So yeah. So now we are struggling to find a place to kind of live as a company, but it's okay because we do have another lead which we are investigating, and if that pans out, we'll be in it in a couple, maybe like 4 weeks, because it needs a little bit of work. And one reason why it's pretty low on the list, but one reason why I'm kind of interested in getting into places so that we can do like sort of an MTV Cribs type video where it's like, hey, you were just stopping by, huh? Well, this is like Team Radiant's home or whatever. That'll be really fun, but we can't do it until we have a place. Yeah. Is there any way to get access to the beta at this point? No. To be honest, the game right now is kind of in pieces all over the floor of the garage. Because, don't worry, it's going to come together. But we're learning as we build, and we're finding out that like we're basically spending a lot of time to make sure that things are moddable and good from the start, rather than build something that works and even works well, but you can't change. So when we go back and do something, sometimes we have to like think, wait, hold on, let's take the slightly longer road and parameterize this routine or whatever else, so that you guys as modders can hook into it or whatever else. Like one example is like I was working on day-night cycle. What am I doing now? Oh yeah, okay. So we got the spindle. I'm not super happy with this spindle, so I'm not gonna say we're done yet, but I'm working on it. Like I was working on day-night cycle. So the idea is like you put in a clock, and that's dead simple. So you can tell the time of day, and time passes, no problem. And then the next step is to make like the lights move in the sky. So there's a light in the 3D engine that simulates the sun, right? Well, that thing has to move so shadows are correct and the color should change as you go from day to night. And writing the code to do that is probably like an hour, to like write it and debug it, and then you're done. But if we just wrote that code in that way, then guess what? Day-night cycle would, or the time of day and the way the sun moved in the sky and the color of the sun and all that stuff would be hard coded. And if you wanted to do something like even something as simple as like change the color of the sun in your mod, because maybe like I don't know, maybe you have like a meteor mod or something, and you need the sky to get like really red. You wouldn't be able to do it because guess what? The color of the sky is hard coded. So I had to go back and think about, okay, let's write the sky as a mod, and let's figure out like what hooks there are to gain access to this light, and just like change the color on your own. And that took longer, but now it's done. But it's like that for everything in the game. Yeah, which is why kind of you put a lot of those together, and there were some structural things that were like that as well, and we kind of took the game apart and started basically rebuilding a lot of things. Why did I start this? Oh yeah, because someone asked if they could get the beta. And this is a super long way of saying that even if we wanted to give you the beta, we would not be able to. So my conscience is clear. The spindle is a tool. Why would it be in the outbox? Oh, that's a good question. It shouldn't be in the outbox. It should be at the carpenter's workbench, or the weaver's workbench, which is going to be right here, but it doesn't exist yet, and I felt like I had to put it somewhere. So there, I put it there. Okay, so the carpenter needs, or the weaver needs a bench to work on, and I knew this thing would come in handy. I mean, and it needs to level up. So that's interesting. So this is a job for Google image search. Yeah, I browse Reddit. What about it? Okay, so we're gonna look at weavers, not weave. Weavers images, and let's see what. Oh, that's hilarious, Sigourney Weaver. Okay, medieval weaver. Yes, we want to see a creepy smile. What? I'm confused. Oh, the what am I supposed to show you? Oh, Albert. No. You guys can see Albert eventually, but not right now. I assure you he exists. Okay, so I'm trying to get a feel for like what the heck is in a weaver's kind of workshop, other than like a loom and a spindle. And it looks okay. Is this guy even a weaver? No, he's a carver. I don't know why he's listed under these. Oh, because okay, yeah. So Sigourney Weaver again. That was Stephanie laughing. Sorry, you guys are hilarious. Weaving tools. That's right, weaving tools. But no, not weaving tools, because weaving tools are like looms and stuff like that. This yellow is supposed to be a different kind of wood, like maybe like a pine, not gold for whoever asked. But you're right, it's kind of the wrong yellow. Like this yellow is much more piney. So let's just make that happen. And does that look too much like flesh? No, it's all right. It should maybe be a little bit darker, so let's just rock that out. But I don't want to obsess too much on this because I'm going to change it anyway. I always revisit my work, and I want to make some decent progress for you guys in the next half hour, 45 minutes. Mahogany? No, it's not mahogany. It's like you wouldn't make like a spindle out of mahogany. It's just like a stick, right? You're going to make it out of something that you can, well, it's expendable. Maybe it's not expendable. But, oh, here's a basket weaver. But I'm looking for like, okay, this is kind of good. So here's like a weaver. She's definitely kind of medieval. It's funny. This is embroidery. It's like weaving Inception. I wove a weaver. I shouldn't do that. I hate it when people use the word Inception incorrectly because of that movie. And I just did it. What's going on? Okay. So, I don't know, she's got like a pretty plain desk back there. Maybe this is a better example. But that's like the loom. I don't know. I'm not getting much. So I just need like a kind of a generic, yeah, kind of like a generic wooden desk or something, someplace. Oh, here, let's do this. Let's Google spindle. Like I'm looking for an image of like someone. So yeah, this is like a person using a spindle. That's a loom. That's a spindle. That's a spindle. Yes. I'm looking for like what does someone look like? Okay, there's a spindle, and the dude's just on a freaking chair. It's like a chair and a rug. Oh man. All right. So it's just a chair. So you just sit. Okay. All right. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. I got it. So tier 1 is, lady sitting on stair using her spindle chair, and that's kind of depressing. No one wants to do that. So tier 2 is going to be upgrade to a spinning wheel, which is like way better. All right. So we're working on tier 2 here. I shouldn't have done that here. We'll do that, and we'll pump the floor down a little bit. Alright. This is kind of a new pattern because the spindle is going to go away and be replaced by this giant thing, but that's okay. It'll work. Alright. So tier 1, you got this sort of spindle, and we can actually maybe use our carpet here. We didn't use it before, but maybe it makes sense. You know, just because, like when like, what are you going to put down? Like, you're going to put down a with a carpenter it was easy because you put down the stump. That's sort of the first thing you put down, and then everything is relative to that. You place the outbox and everything else. Here, you're going to place what, like a chair? That's not very exciting. So we'll have you place like this rug, which makes sense because she's the weaver, along with a spindle and the chair where she'll sit and do her spindling. Is that a verb? I don't know. Now, I'm going to steal an asset that I know I already have in my back pocket, which is that stool from, yeah, I knew I had one, right? This is the mason. This is like, this thing is probably 8 months old. I can see a lot of things wrong with it. Like, look at this cube of stone, like how it's all dithered and stuff. That's not the way stuff should look in Stonehearth. But I did this a long time ago. I do like this hammer, like this. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, but for now, I just needed that chair. So, we're commandeering the chair for the weaver. And look, it matches. What foresight that was. Okay, great. So when you slap down, I'm not digging this pattern on the rug. We'll fix that. And I kind of feel like I want that stool to like be a little... It's kind of plain right now. Let's see what we can do to embellish it a little bit. So we're going to have to resize. And we'll make it 10 by 10 by 10. Yeah. And now I want to add a little bit here. Just give it a little more depth. Hotkeys are awesome. If you don't know your hotkeys, learn them. Hotkeys are great in Cubicle and in StarCraft. And Photoshop. Okay, so I'm just like giving it more depth, right? This is totally mechanical stuff. It's not exciting, but it's gonna help. Is it gonna help? Yeah, well, kind of. Alright. This is pretty basic. Look, I'm gonna fix the underside, because even though you'll never see it in game, I will know. Yeah. That's better. Okay. It's a pretty basic stool, but it doesn't have to be super ornate. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. Nope, that. Maybe there. Yeah. Just to, like, give it something, right? Okay. Okay, so this needs work. Right now there's nothing on this thing that says, like, hey, this is where weaving happens. And actually I'm going to put the spindle... This is sort of what it would look like. Oh, I know what it needs. Here, we're going to flip this. No, here. We're going to move everything around. It needs something that says this is where, like, an activity called weaving happens. Like, it's not just kind of, like, random stuff. I'm going to lower this because it looks like... There. Okay. Stephanie asks if I want to make a basket. That is exactly what I want, but not any basket. Did someone from chat mention basket? A basket of wool says 1364598. I hope that means something to you. Yes, you're right. It's a basket of wool, and we're going back to like our concept, our concept, dude. I'm gonna make this basket. Yeah, I'm gonna make this basket. It's gonna be a basket of wool. That makes a lot of sense. And I could do it using this same color, but that's going to be too much of the same color. I don't like that. So let's just, and I know that I have something around that I could repurpose, but I've already done that once, and that's boring for everybody. It's boring for you. It's boring for me, so I'm going to make the basket from scratch. And who knows, maybe I'll make like the most awesome basket ever, and then it'll be my new go-to basket. Okay, so just for reference, I'm going to grab just a couple of the things that, oh look, that's what I was going to grab. Okay, pretend that doesn't exist, because that could very easily become the basket. Okay, so, okay. Alright, so these are some of the things that this Tier 1 Weaver is going to make. you know, tier 0. Tier 0, you don't have access to dye. Everything's going to be super basic. It's all about the bare necessities and actually surviving. And I like that I kind of have a palette going here, and I like that the palette is different than the palette that the Carpenter uses. The Carpenter is definitely more about, well, it's not that different, but he's more into these sort of browns, even these cool browns. And the Weaver is much more into like almost like a warm cream and this yellow. So that's good. I'm glad that I have differentiation there already. And this basket needs to be more squat, maybe like this. This is Stonehearth, so our basket, even though in our concept is kind of, what is that? Trapezoidal shaped, like an upside down, or like, I guess, like a basketball basket shaped. In Stonehearth, we simplify that to a square. So there we go. And let me resize this guy so I have some room to work. Maybe make it 14 by 14. Okay, great. And let's just start defining sort of the major features of this thing. Whoops. I liked that in the basket that I'm referring to, there's this sort of, you know, you can see the weaving on the upper ledge. I want to try to preserve that in voxely form because it really gives it like a woven basket look. And just like due diligence, I think I can remember this. Let's just like look at. Let's just get a sampling of baskets. Yeah, so not something like that, not something like that. I want something like with a thick weave to it. I love how you can Google like anything, and like you're always gonna see like some hot girl. It's like what does she have to do with basket weaving? Nothing, but it's the internet. Thanks, internet. Oh, there's a kitten. All right, if we have time, I'm gonna put our kitten in the basket. Just like slap it in there, just to see what it looks like. All right, I've got nothing here. I like the original basket concept, but now maybe something like this. You know, if it had a thicker weave, but whatever. What are you guys saying? Maybe she weaved the basket. She did not look like the basket weaving type. Alright, so great. So I want like kind of a thicker border around this thing. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I'm going to try. And the idea is that like our weavings will like come up over this border. Okay, which means I need to move it down one, like that. I don't know if this is gonna work. I don't know, man, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try. We'll do that, and then we'll like do like the corners. No, not the corners. You wouldn't do the corners. You do it like that. No, but we need space like that. There. That's not bad. This, I got a bad feeling. Yeah, let's get smart. On the fourth edge, I get smart about it. Okay, and then let's get a lighter, just a lighter color for like. So I need like 2 browns for my. What? Did I not? Did I hit cancel? Was I that clever? I need 2 browns for my basket. One for like, you know, just to give some contrast about which part is being woven where. Is that like the warp and the woof, or is that just in? Oh, I guess that's weaving, different kind of weaving, but whatever. All right. So, whoa, come on. Yeah, and I might even need 3 browns, but that is kind of scary to me. No, it doesn't look right. It never looks right until it looks right, so don't worry about that. This is, I know that sounds ridiculous, but like, okay, so who here watched Bob Ross as a kid? Or watches Bob Ross now for all, I mean, you can get his stuff on YouTube or on, you know, you can buy the DVDs if you're really into Bob Ross. But, like, I used to watch Bob, does everyone know who Bob Ross is? He's like the guy who did these painting specials on PBS. He had like a big fro. He's a white guy, but he had a big fro. And he did these. I kind of like this thing. He did these painting series where like his whole deal was anyone can paint, and I'm gonna like paint like a landscape. Like, I'm not gonna tell you about Bob Ross because you should know about him already. If you don't, you're poorer for it, and you should Google him right now. But I watched Bob Ross like a lot as a kid, and I would like yell, like 7 years old or whatever. I would yell at the TV like, "No, Bob, you just ruined it!" Because Bob took like his brush and just like did this like, you know, whatever burnt sienna smear like totally across this beautiful ocean that he painted. Like, but then like sure enough, in like 15 minutes, Bob had turned that smear into like, you know, this like wonderful sailboat with like little happy sails or whatever. So, I mean, I have something in my head and you can't see it, but I can, and so I'm not surprised if you think it looks bad, and it will look bad until it doesn't. That's just kind of the way things go. This isn't looking really woven. I like the texture, but it's not looking super woven. I'm going to try knocking off that layer of voxels and see if it helps. And it does a little bit. Yes, that's right. Zendrake 12. Bob Ross is the happy trees guy. He would always paint trees, and he would call them happy trees, and he would explain exactly why they were happy trees and how they would like talk to the rabbits or something like that. And it sounds crazy, but it was like super awesome because he had like lots of fun painting, and it was clear he had fun painting, and all he was trying to do was teach you how to paint and have fun too. Yeah. Okay, so this like gunk in the middle is representative of what eventually excuse me, the wool is going to be. Alright, I don't know if my basket is really coming across here. I mean, I know that I have to do like this something for here. Let's do this. Yeah. I need to do something to get the horizontal stripes of the basket. I mean, I know I have to do it. It's obvious. So I'm just going to do it. I'm going to give it a shot. Let's try. Okay, and here, let me try to actually go like over and under and over and under and stuff. Let's do it this way. Oops. Oops. Like that. I mean, that's right, but can I envision what that... This is going to be way too detailed. But I'm going to give it a shot. Anyway. Over, under, wait, over, under, over. Oh no. Is that going to work? Yeah, good. Under, over. Now this is... Wait. This is over, so this should be under. Over. Under, over. Yeah. Alright. This is going to work. Like, the effect is going to be the correct effect, but it might end up still looking bad. And I'm only doing one side of the basket, because it gives me enough to see what's going on, and I don't want to constantly... Until I find something that works, then I'll do the back side. It's not a checkerboard, it's a weave. Look, it's totally a weave, except I messed up one part of it. There, that is a weave, right? Over, under, wait, yeah, over, under, over. That's a weave, man. It's okay, you kickstarted for a reason. Did someone kickstart something? One thick instead of two? Ooh, I don't know about that. So this, like, this whole thing, this border, I'm feeling less and less as time goes by. Like, I kind of like the weave I've got going, but I don't like this border anymore. So it was worth a try, you know, but it's going. It's going. Maybe you're right on the one thickness thing. Let's, like, do some drastic surgery here. Alright, so if we're going to do that, then this would go here. And this would go here. And then this one would go here. And then we start over, right? Is that right? That's not right. This would go here. It's not bad. It's the bottom line needs to go top. Yes, you're right. You got it. Okay. That's not bad. Now I want to give it like... I still want to give it like a border, This may be too dark a brown, like way too big of a contrast. When I say a border, I mean like a top edge. That's not what I mean either. But the English language is failing me right now. Or am I failing the English language? Like a like what do you call the edge of a pizza? Like the thick part of the crust that nobody ever eats. It's got like one of those. Yeah, that's better, right? It looks baskety, it looks woven. It's definitely different from what everything else I'm doing in Stonehearth, which I think is cool. But I'm going to do a size check on this thing, because I think it's too small. Yeah, it's too small. Wait, hold on. Let's align it with this lovely lady. Yeah, it's too small. So, okay, I'm going to work on it here. I think... Alright, first I'm going to do this, just to make it a lot easier to position this thing. And I believe I can make it twice as tall. Because if you notice, like, proportions in this game are not exactly exact. Not exactly exact. And this is like a big, like, kind of laundry basket type. The style is clashing. It looks cool, but seems too busy now. I agree with you. It definitely still needs some work, but we're going to keep working at it until it doesn't anymore need work. Get it? So this is like a big laundry basket, so it can like be... it's not like it's like a little Easter basket or something that you'd hold in your hand. You'd like hold this thing with two hands. And so to be like kind of endearing... Is that right? Yeah, that's right. It needs to be like big, like, you know, imagine like she's carrying this like with two hands or something. It would be like big. So that's better. And there is something going on like with this, like all these colors, and it's so intricate. So I'm gonna do something drastic, and I do this a lot. Like I like just doing like variant on variant on variant on variant. Just do like lots of variants and see what works. Like we can like do maybe like give a hint of that weave without like explicitly drawing the weave on the basket and doing it like that, right? And I think I like that better, but I don't like the dots on the corners because it loses. Like it's not a square anymore. It's like this weird kind of book shaped thing, and I want it breaks the illusion. So I'm in trouble, but that's okay because I can just make the basket a different size. Because the size it was originally is arbitrary, so we can arbitrarily make it one smaller. Sure, we can do that. Does that work? I'm kind of digging that. And then of course this needs to go here and here and here and here and here. Oops, here and here. And off with your head, right? Alright. Okay, now... Alright. Okay, it's lost some kind of basketiness. There's too much contrast here. And it's square. I don't want it to be square. Well, you know, I don't want it to be like a perfect cube. I want it to be longer than it is wide. And it needs handles. I think I'm obsessing too much about the exact pattern here. Because I think the handles are going to be a big win in terms of like giving this thing the right character. So let's just get going on that. Now I could do like kind of this thing with the handle, right, where it's like, oh, it's a semicircle, right? And maybe I will do that, but something in me wants to square them off. I always like trying to square something off. Okay. Now I could do this and say the handle comes in here. Maybe that's the right thing to do. Alright. Not the wand, not the eraser. Yes, the eraser. Hi, eraser. Okay, and then do something like... This is gonna kill me. I don't know. Like some kind of detail where it intersects? No, that doesn't work at all. Let's just keep it simple and do that. Yeah. That's not bad. It's not great. It needs to be kind of lighter to pop out. But it needs to, like, I want to give the impression that it's part of this upper border thing, but, oops. But let's just make it a little bit, wow, no one can tell what that is. Let's try that one. That's too bright. A little darker, a little darker. Boom. Boom. Alright. I like that. Oh, save. Hey, let's save this. Save as. This is going to be the Weaver workshop. Okay. Delete your work. Basket looks perfect, like factory product. It needs to be unperfect, and dots are weird. Just my opinion. I like the dots, man. Okay, it does maybe look a little bit designer. You know what? It does. It does look a little bit like a designer basket. Let's see if we can find a way to make this weave work. Stephanie's suggesting what? Doing this? Like knocking holes in the thing? That's gonna give a lot more visual, I guess, yeah, intrigue because of the depth. 2 holes for the handles. What? I'm confused. By the way, I like your non-idea for the dots. But what are you saying with the handles? What if the handles were holes in the side of the basket? Like underneath? Oh, she wants holes in the side. Oh, that would make it look less like a handbag. Yeah, so I think it's a very nice handbag. But like Stephanie is suggesting that like we do something like, this isn't literally what she's suggesting, but I'm riffing on her idea. Do something like that. That's better. Yeah. So they're not like, yeah. Right. I kind of like that. Does anyone have any questions? Like, not questions like, can I have the beta or something, but like, you know. There's a thread in the discourse? Oh man. Alright. Let's see if I can pull this off. LiveStream question bank. There it is. Why not? Do I care about the deleted? I mean, it's public information, right? Oh, okay. Someone's asking about pre-builds. Oh, will there be pre-builds supplied to YouTubers? Yes. When we get closer to beta, we will start providing more Let's Play builds for the YouTubers, especially the YouTubers that helped us out by showing our video during our Kickstarter. We definitely owe those guys a debt of gratitude. If you were around during the Kickstarter, you know the effect that they had on our Kickstarter. It was amazing. So, but we won't do that until like right before beta for a lot of reasons. We think that we're going to be, well, we know for a fact that we're going to be working right up to the last second of beta to make it as good as we can at the start. And so it just makes sense. And also, we don't want to like have them lord over like, haha, look, we've got the Stonehearth beta, isn't it awesome? You can't have it for a month, right? It'll be like, you know, I'm riffing here, or I'm going off the top of my head, and other people may, like Tony, may really disagree, and it might change because we fight about it. But I think like maybe like the week before the beta or something like that, maybe like 2 weeks to give them like, you know, some lead time so they can actually really play around with it. But yeah, we will do that again. And then as far as the beta goes, like different people have different definitions of beta. And when we say beta, what we really mean is it's going to be like core aspects of the game that work and are fun and are playable, but it's not going to be everything. We're going to concentrate the December release, I should say, on building and crafting. So you'll have a full-featured carpenter. You'll have a really good building system. You'll be able to build a lot more than just one simple room, like you can in our prototype video. And there'll be lots of building and crafting related things to do. But it's not going to be everything that's in the game. And we release the beta. We get feedback on that stuff from you guys, and then we just keep cranking away. And our plan is to keep the beta updated all the way through release. So on some regular schedule, the beta will just get more features, and it gets better and better. And then sometime in 2014, we have enough of, we have everything that we imagined in the original core game, and then we say, hey, guess what? This is release. And then we don't stop there. We keep going, which is kind of the way that a lot of indies are building games now, is that you don't just sort of say, oh, we had our release, so I guess we're done and we move on to the next game. We're going to keep working on Stonehearth for hopefully years and years and years to come, because that's exactly what we want to do, and as long as you guys are interested in it, we're happy to continue to work on it. Oh, post Stonehearth, we have ideas for other games, but we are not even allowing ourselves to think about those ideas at all. We are 100% focused on making Stonehearth the best it can possibly be. And then, maybe like when Stonehearth is in awesome shape and we have a core team that's totally up to speed on the tech and can implement their own features and without needing help from Tony, since I guess he's the chief architect of the project, then we'll start thinking about the other ideas we have, but not until, because we've wanted to make Stonehearth for a really long time, and the last thing we want to do is wow, I sort of gone zen and come up with something which is pretty good on this basket thing. Yeah, so we're not gonna abandon our baby. Stonehearth's our baby, and we're gonna leave it in excellent hands before even thinking about or pursuing, I should say, other game ideas. Shouldn't handles be on other sides? Yeah. Why do you go on making sense like that? You're gonna get in trouble making that kind of sense. Dude. Can you imagine if we were making this basket and you made it and you were satisfied? You're like, wow, that took a week, and then you realize the handles were on the wrong side. What would you do? I would burn the basket. I would just burn that sucker down. Okay, and I want there to be cloth in this thing, so let's use the same pattern that we have on this cloth, this dotted pattern, which is funny because it's the same one that we had in the basket a little while ago, but whatever. Alright, and we'll do it like this. Whoa, I can't see these, but I know that they're there. You can't see them either because you can't see my cursor, but it's like the wind. You can't see it, but you know it's there. Did that work? That didn't really work. For some reason, it's visible here. I think it's because this is the top face and that's the side face and the lighting's different, but I need a little more contrast. And I gotta get out of here in 5 minutes. Sorry for such a short stream, guys. I will do another one soon. Wait. You know what? I'm doing another one tomorrow. We're doing part 2 of this stream tomorrow at 4. If I'm not doing anything else. I'm almost sure I'm not doing anything else. But if I'm not, we're doing part 2 tomorrow at 4. So tune in then, and I'll tweet this out and stuff so everyone else knows. Because I feel like we got some stuff done, but not nearly as much as I wanted to. And remember, all this stuff is being archived, so if you have to go or whatever, go ahead, leave me. There's zero chance I'll answer your question when you're on an archive, but you'll at least get to watch it. That's not bad. So look, okay, let's look where we are. Let's re-examine. We have, like, this is like something that I try not to get bothered about, but we had, it's just reality and I've come to accept it. We had like 3 really bad attempts at a basket, but the 4th one was pretty good, right? So for those of you who just tuned in, or just to remind everyone what we're doing, and I need to remind myself too, we're making the Weaver's Workshop. We know what the Weaver is, we know the kinds of things that she can craft, but she doesn't have a workshop yet, in the same way that we've already defined the Carpenter's Workshop, and it has a very specific look. So we need to figure out what the Weaver's Workshop looks like. This might end up looking like brick, which would be pretty tragic, because it's a lot of clicking gone to waste. No, it's pretty good. It's not bad. It's starting to look designer again, but I like it. Albert doesn't like it. Or he doesn't like his code. Albert screwed up his code, which is too bad. Alright, so let's like quickly sketch out like what's going on in the future, or in part 2 of our continuing saga of the Weaver and her workshop. That sounded pretty good. Okay, so this is Tier 1 Weaver Workshop. Ignore the ground part, because that's just so that I have something to work on. When you put down a Weaver's Workshop, you're going to get this rug, which is just decoration, and the stool, which is, it's all decoration really, because it's just ones and zeros. And then she'll get a basket, and she gets the spindle, and she's going to like hop on the chair and do her work on the spindle, much like our Mr. YouTube guy was doing, and she'll spin thread. And then later you can upgrade this chair, the spindle, which is really miserable, into a full-on spinning wheel, and that's going to increase her productivity probably by like 1,000%. And maybe like for consistency's sake, just so that you know this is still like, you know, her workshop, we can keep the basket there. Maybe the basket can level up, and I don't know what it's going to leveled up basket would turn into, but whatever. Right? Okay, so this is the beginning of her Tier 1 workshop. This is the beginning of her Tier 2 workshop. I don't like her shoes. They don't make sense. We're going to have to fix... You know what? I'm going to fix her shoes, like, right now. Let's see if we can not give her boots. Everyone in Stonehearth so far has boots, which is, like... No. Like, eventually, like, someone does not need boots, and they would decide to wear something more comfortable. And that time is today. Let's try to give her slippers. Not like slippers, but like, you know, like normal shoes. I don't know. And I'm doing this super fast. Yep, that's not it. Right. I should be doing other things. Does that work? That might work. Whatever. No, we're keeping the boots for now. But in part 2, we're going to upgrade her outfit, because, like, everyone wearing boots is not sustainable. I mean, really. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense, because, like, they are settlers after all, right? And, like, it's kind of rough and tumble out there. Did I mess up? No, I'm alright. Alright. I gotta go in 1 minute, so I'm gonna answer a couple questions. I'll answer 2 from Discourse, 2 from the stream, maybe 1 from the stream, and then we will continue tomorrow. So, some questions I'm intentionally skipping because we want to save that for later. Oh, sleepiness. Will sleepiness be affected by time or a sleepiness meter? And if it's by a meter, will they take a nap when not working during the daylight to get a boost? That's a great question. Right now, it is driven by time of day, just so like we can move on to other things. We don't want to deep end on sleep, but by the time you get it, it will be driven by a meter. So every person will have an internal sleepiness stat, which we probably won't surface to you, the player, but is there nonetheless. And as you go through the day and work, you get more and more sleepy. When your sleepiness hits a certain threshold, you'll go look for a bed in the same way that's described in the blog. And if you can't find a bed or don't have a bed, eventually you get so sleepy that you just conk out on the ground. Yeah, and then there are obvious reasons why we would drive it from a stat, because then other things other than the sleepiness system can drive the stat. Like, you know, someone mentioned coffee in the comments of the blog, so you could, I don't know if you'd literally craft coffee. Maybe you do. Maybe like we have, you know, maybe you can craft coffee and it buffs it. It reduces your sleepiness stat, or we can make you gain sleepiness faster at night, or you know, there are all things you can imagine you can do with the stat once you have a stat. Yeah, so that'll be cool, and it's like not even a lot of work to do that. It's just we want to do things in a deterministic way sometimes in the beginning, just so like we don't have to say, oh, we don't have to like debug the stat. We can just know that at 6 o'clock you're going to go to sleep, so now I can tweak the sleep animation very easily. And then we'll make it more detailed. How is hiring? Okay, so I talked about that. Hiring's going great. We're almost fully staffed up, but we need a new office space. I already talked about that. Wow, I'm like ahead of the game on this one. Wow, those are a lot of corporate questions that I can't answer right now. Sorry. How will the skill tree work? Large amount of levels with percentage buffs? Fewer levels with bigger skills? A level 1 blacksmith can craft stone swords, gain... Oh. So this stuff is going to be... We don't want you managing a bunch of numbers in the game. And we don't want you like managing individual skill trees or anything like that. So the way crafting will be handled with, or levels will be handled with crafters, it's going to be like really obvious stuff. So when you go up a level, you will gain access to new recipes. Or when you go up a level, there'll be an increased chance of something really awesome happening. So that when you have like a max level blacksmith or something, awesome stuff is happening fairly regularly, and then you make a new blacksmith and he's not doing awesome stuff, right? I can't tell you what awesome stuff is because we have to save some surprises. But it's like obvious stuff like that. And we want you managing, when it comes to crafting, more of the workshop rather than the individual like crafter guy. Because that's something, the crafter is going to be running all over the place as you tell him to do things, but the workshop doesn't move. So like if I'm at like level 1 Weaver workshop and I really want to upgrade it to level 2, I could like try to find like this girl, but maybe she's asleep right now, right? And then I gotta go, oh, is she in the bedroom? Whatever, it's a pain. But I can just click on the workshop because it doesn't move, and then like so I lose most of my management through that. Now, if you do happen to find her, of course, we'll probably just duplicate all the buttons or whatever that you have in the workshop on the crafter. But whatever. Yeah, but we want levels to be like big events and tie like features to them, like new recipes, and not like numbers that you have to manage and figure out, well, where do I put these points or something. Alright, 2 questions from stream and then I gotta go. Fighting mechanics. So fighting mechanics are something that we're taking another look at. I mean, if you look at the way fighting works in the Kickstarter video, it's pretty simple. Like, it's like RTS here where we pop up RPG numbers so you know how much damage you're doing, and that would be fine, but it's not very epic. So we're thinking about ways to make combat maybe have a more storybook feel to it, where instead of like numbers popping up all the time, instead of lots of little tiny events, maybe we show you less of the little events and it just kind of happens, but like we highlight big events. Like a big event would be like your mage decided to cast a fireball, or like some guy is like really close to death, right? So you can imagine a bad idea, which might lead to a good idea, is like when something interesting happens, like the game goes into super slow mode and like you get like the cinematic bars coming in down and on the top and bottom, and like you zoom to that guy, right, and you can see him in like Matrix mode, like get stabbed in the heart and fall over, right? That sounds awesome, but from a gameplay perspective, it would be like really freaking annoying because you're trying to do something and then bam, cinematic mode. And you're like, no, I want right. So, but we want to do something to make combat a little bit more storybook-like and less pure RTSE. We don't know what that is. If we can't think of anything, we have a backup plan. But that's sort of where combat is. It sounds a bit crazy. It does sound crazy, which is why I said I prefaced it saying it's a bad idea. But we want to do something where it's like, because I mean, if you look at, so I guess another way of describing it is like building and crafting have this ant farm quality that we called it. Like you can set things up and then just like watch, and it's kind of fun to watch. But combat is just like guys going like, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, and then one of them falls over, and that's not very fun to watch. We need to try to find a way to make it fun to watch, if we can. If we can't, whatever. It's fine. Okay, one more question. Wow, no one's asking. Oh, wait. Will the Weaver be able to customize colors and designs of people and banners in PvP? This is an easy one to answer. We want you to be able to have like a town banner, which sort of goes everywhere. So maybe like the Weaver can craft a town banner, and that's something that you set up when you start your new settlement, and then you can pump them out. And that banner would show up in all kinds of recipes. Designing like per pixel patterns per recipe is not something that we're going to do initially, because it requires it requires a lot of stuff. Most importantly, it requires like a bitmap editor in game, and that's cool, but more work than probably we should justify given where we are in development right now. Okay, one more question. How many models are done for the game, and how many more do you think you'll need to make? I would estimate that right now there are probably 100 models that are done. Not all of them in the game, but they're done and ready to be put in the game. And I think that's probably about 5%. I think when the game is all said and done in late 2014, I think there will be at least 1,000 different models. When you look at all the different characters and all the different items, probably about 1,000. Yeah, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And we have secret plans for how we're going to generate all that art, which you can probably guess, but I'm not telling you because it's a secret. Okay, so that is it. I do have to go. It's past 5. But I will continue this, and we will flesh out the Weaver's workshop and compare it to the Carpenter workshop and make sure they both have their own character. Tomorrow at 4, I'll tweet it, put it on the blog so other people know. So check back in 23 hours. Okay, thanks guys. Later, as soon as I can find the button.